Or should we do a 3-2-1? Do you want to go 3-2-1?
Just get out.
Oh, you've actually got that. That's
That's got that all there on it. So
There we
go.
Well, that week one of the finals done. Razman, how are you, brother?
Oh, hang on. Let me turn him up.
What's that? Razzle dazzle. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thank you.
How's the garage treating you, mate?
Yeah, look, as you know, a bit of a tumultuous end of the week last week. Whole place got flooded.
Yeah. And thank you for alerting us about the white ants too out there. We went out there, there's white ants building mounds.
Yeah, and all that wood has absorbed a lot of that water, so you can't even close the garage door now. So it must get bloody cold out there, Raz, man.
Yeah, it sucks.
Hey, it sucks. It's our garage. Don't talk about our garage like that.
Be grateful. It's rent-free.
Yeah, well, look, I went and I bought myself a hammock this week. So happens again, I'll be sweet. I'll be up, above floor level.
Well, down the road, we've got the YMCA if you want to stay there. Don't make a song and dance about it. But.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. No, I don't.
That one, Razman?
No.
Like, the song YMCA.
Yeah.
Yeah, staying at the YMCA. Don't make a song and dance about it.
See, Dad,
that's good. I like that.
It's not.
Let's get
back to finals football.
Oh, you silly man. The big story this week. Matthew, Justin Holbrook, new Newcastle Knights coach.
We finally found ourselves a coach, the Newcastle Knights.
I like it.
Yeah, it's a good appointment.
You played with Justin Holbrook at Newcastle, right?
Yep, I did.
Was that in first grade, reserve grade? What?
I didn't play at 1:30 often, Coops. No, but he, we played with him. He was Joey's understudy. Like the year we won the comp in '97, Leo Danover was Joey's understudy, so they needed one, and they brought Titsy Holbrook from the Bulldogs. And I know, being a coach.
Breaking news.
Like, this is a fairly shallow statement. It doesn't mean he's going to be a great coach up there. But one thing about him, when he came to the Knights, he immediately fit in. He immediately was really, really popular. Everyone really liked him.
Yeah.
Like, the fans really liked him. He was a wholehearted player. Never let anyone down. Really positive bloke. So, yeah, I'm happy about it. He won't get much sleep in the next 3 years because, mate, it's a monumental job. Yeah. And he's got to have his hands on most things.
Yeah, and I spoke to Sammy Verrills during the week, who had him up at the Gold Coast, and he had he very much enjoyed his time under him. Apparently, a very good coach as well. Yeah,
well, he won a title or two at St Helens. His time there, his win rate was 80% there.
Yeah.
Then went to Titans, and the Titans they were faced with a tough situation.
They actually improved though.
Yeah, they were ninth.
Remember, they made the finals, and then they would have made it to the week 2 of semi-finals, but that last play, the centre didn't pass to the winger, and they bombed the try, and they didn't get. They were versing the Roosters. You remember that, Razman? Because you're a Titans man.
Yeah, Patrick Herbert. That one was.
Geez, don't keep your receipts.
Yeah, it was heartbreaking.
Be careful with the Herbert family; they are litigious.
But yeah, no. Justin Holbrook. I'm a big fan. I know that hindsight is a great thing, but when they signed Desi, he was the next big thing. But if I look back on it, I wish we had Holbrook there for another year or two.
And Michael Checker, you were talking about him for the Newcastle job. He's now signed as the assistant coach for the Roosters.
Full-time assistant at the Roosters.
Because he had done some part-time stuff for them before, helping out Trent Robertson there.
Yeah. People say, he hasn't got a rugby league background, but he played both league and union growing up. He was a league player growing up, and he coached Lebanon in the World Cup. Okay, that was short stint. But talking to the Lebanese players, he had a very, very good sound knowledge of the game. Brilliant communicator, brilliant man manager. And these days, Coops, I mean, you got 2 or 3 assistant coaches. Whatever you may lack, they can pick up. I mean, it's like bellyache. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I've heard bellyache say this when I worked at the Storm. You had to talk to you talk to Bellyache about attack, and he goes, mate, I don't care what you do. I'm just looking after defence. Just make sure they don't bleed errors.
Yeah, Bellyache barely looks at the attack, and if there's some stuff that he sees in your attacking game, it's generally only to do with effort, or maybe you're passing early when he thinks because you're a little bit tired, you're trying to distribute some work to someone else. That's the only time he'll sort of pull someone else up. He only focuses on defence, as a head coach should. I always find a lot of assistant coaches who actually are assistants in the attacking coaching role, when they make the transition to head coach, they don't do as good a job. Jason Rolls is a great example. Every time he's been an assistant at a coach, where he was at the Roosters, he was at obviously Melbourne. He's been defensive coach both times.
Yep.
He hasn't even touched the attack. he's been the defensive coach, and they make a really good transition to being a head coach.
They do.
Because head coaches need to focus on holding the standards for effort and defense. They don't even look at the attack. They recruit someone who is an attacking specialist.
Well, and the other one is Cameron Serraldo.
Yeah.
He was defensive coach at the Panthers. And so, you're spot on, Coop. You're spot on. And oftentimes, I think it's really important when you get a coaching staff together is they talk about it in NFL. They call it siloing. So if I'm head coach, Coop, you're defensive coach, and the Razman is attack coach, you look like an attack coach, Razman. So if you're the attack, so the last thing we need, or the last thing I need from you two blokes, is operating as different identities. Because what happens is, like, if our defence is really struggling and our attack's going great, the Razman says to me, well, it's not my fault, mate, we're attacking great. But what happens a lot of time, having too much emphasis on attack brings errors, and errors impacts defence.
Yeah.
So you need to work in a cohesive manner. And I think a lot of time bad clubs, I'd look at their system and, mate, and I see it at some clubs all the time. This is a little insight into fans on what happens, the politics of coaching stuff. I've heard attack coaches bag the defensive coach and vice versa.
Yeah.
Going, mate, it's not my fault that we're losing. Look at that. And you're going, yeah, but mate, your attacks, you're making so many errors that the defensive coach can't absorb them. Yeah. So it's a cohesive unit.
Rugby union doesn't get a start much on this potty, but shout out to Nic White, who was the scrum half for the Wallabies last week in the test that they played on Saturday afternoon against Argentina. He's from the Hunter Valley boy.
Is he, Nick?
And he played his last game. He retired. And look, I don't know Nic White that well. I think maybe I've met him once before, potentially, but I was woken up in the early hours of Saturday night by Nic White on the piss, FaceTiming me with a couple of my mates. So shout out to him. In his words, he said, "I'm the best half that has come out of the Hunter Valley." So shout out to Nic White, a great career. But shout out to him. He had a bit of head noise the next day. He said, "Sorry, brother, I wasn't trying to sledge you. I was just having a laugh."
Right.
And I said, "Well, you're not the greatest half that's come out of the Hunter Valley. There's been three of us."
Yeah, true. Nick, let me just give you a bit of advice, mate. When you're out on the drink and having a great time and you call people, don't have head noise the next day. It doesn't matter. I do it all the time, and I take great pride in it. I wear it as a badge of honour.
You FaceTime a lot of people, and you should have more head noise than you do.
I never get head noise.
Yeah, I think, Coop, you're one to speak as well. I think every time we've been on the piss, we end up calling some of your contacts, most notably Justin Olam.
Always Justin Olam.
Really?
Razman loves Justin Olam. Ever since I reckon me and Juzzy became teammates, every time me and you have had a beer, you go ring Juzzy.
Yeah, he's always up for a chat. He's a good man. And yeah, another one, Cameron Munster.
Yeah,
he got a call one New Year's, I think.
Yeah, because Razman's born in Rockhampton as well.
Mate, you get around, get around, you get around.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, which is Harry Grant, obviously Cam Munster, and Tim Glasby territory. Yeah. So Tim Glasby's next on the FaceTime list.
Is he? Glasman. Well, Razman to the Glasman. And Razman, your father, right? He was down, Coops, to the final two people to be the boss of the NRL, and Todd Greenberg got it. It was about 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was nearly head of the NRL. That's me.
Thank God that
you could have every jersey.
Oh my God.
Thank God. I'll tell you what, and if he's listening, thank God, because the game, it would have been driven directly into the ground.
He's a good man, Simon.
And he listens to the potty.
Yeah, shout out to him. I'm sure
he is one of the best. That's where you get your sense of humour from, and your great humility.
And looks, I was hoping for.
And gorgeous looks.
Thank you.
Not just looks, gorgeous ones.
All right, let's start at the Sunday game, because that's probably where a lot of the big news is coming out of. The Bulldogs play the Penrith Panthers. Straight off the top, let's talk about some of the injuries and potential changes. Stephen Crichton and Marcelo Montoya have been named on the extended bench for the Bulldogs. I mean, I'm not sure whether they're going to come back in or not. I mean, Critter, it'd be some effort for him to come back into that side. Marcelo, I'm not sure where his ankle is at.
Yeah.
But what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, Coops, you don't see it'd be some sort of return. There's two guys that come to mind in this situation. One is, remember, Ruben Wiki horrifically doing his ankle, and mate, basically, he had like he treated it himself through the week with like Carver, leaves and stuff like that. Anyway, he played. He played about a week later and did play. I don't know if he got through the game, though. But the big one was Paddy Richards. Paddy Richards in the grand final qualifier for the West Tigers in 2005, mate, did it really bad, as bad as Stephen Crichton's. And I remember going, mate, there's no way he'll play that week. And he was in doubt. Even the day before the game, he was in doubt. They didn't think he was going to play. Did the last training session, played, and, of course, mate, scored that amazing try. I think he might have got a double, but he scored that amazing try off Benji. So it can be done. It's funny to see where Cameron Ciraldo may very well look at this game. If this wasn't an eliminator, I reckon he wouldn't play. He might try to get him out there, given the enormity of this game.
Yeah.
Against, I mean, just for his presence, Cooper, he's going to be vital up against his old side, etc., so on and so forth.
I seen Marcelo Montoya during the week. His mother flew in to treat his ankle to give it the old Fijian massage. Apparently she's quite the masseuse on it. And I can say, I can't speak for Critter and the Samoan culture, but living with Tui Kamikamitha, the Fijian king, I haven't seen, those Fijians can recover from injuries like I've never seen.
Really?
I've seen Bulla do 5-week injuries and be back in literally a week and a half.
Wow.
And he's of the belief Carver and just his DNA was repairing.
Yeah.
Me and Harry were like, this man is actually an Adonis. I'd never seen anything like it, so Marcelo might be right to go.
He might be. And I see Kikau, they wanted to do a scan on him or an X-ray, and he said no, he rejected it.
Yeah.
With his beliefs.
On the face.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also on the extended bench for Penrith, Mitch Kenny has been named on that bench. Summerton is still named at 9. But you'd expect Mitch Kenny to come back in.
I believe my mail is he will play.
Which is a huge because you could tell they really missed him, particularly with their attack on the weekend. Not that Summerton did a bad job, but you could see what Mitch Kenny brings to that forward pack. He gives it to Nathan at the right time. He understands their system better than anyone else.
He's the king of their defence.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is, if he takes part in what the mail is said before, we believe he's going to be named. It's the first time all year Penrith have been full strength.
Is this the first time?
It's all about timing.
Yeah, wow, that's a good time. But okay, this Bulldogs Penrith game. How do you think the teams and the coaches are going to be approaching this game? What's their headspace and mindset? Let's talk about Penrith first. How do you think they're going to be feeling coming up against the Dogs this week? Because I think after they watched that Melbourne game, Dogs were quite out of form. Not really a lot of errors. Not a lot of stuff was sticking. Yeah. I'm of the belief that they'd be quietly confident. You can never be confident going into a finals game because it's. But I think they'd be licking their lips a little bit.
Coops, I think they'd be licking their lips no matter who they played. I think they're my team to beat. I think they're still my favourites because you just as I said before, it's the first time they've been at full strength. The halfback is really now, playing, he's hitting top form. His precision last week, and mate, the Waz, mate, the Waz took it to him last week. The Waz in some ways won the physical battle, but it's just the precision of Penrith and Nathan that won it from. So look, as I said before, mate, like if anything, he'll look, and I think that Ivan will look to him and Nathan look to change a few things up, given the fact that Cameron Ciraldo, he knows their style of football very, very, very well and how to defend it. I think you'll see some variations. From the Dogs' point of view, hey, look, Coops, if you're going to win the comp, you've got to beat them all.
Yeah.
Right? And he'll look at this game, Cameron Ciraldo. And one thing about the Bulldogs, excuse the pun, but they play great when they play with a great underdog mentality. And they're going to go out there. It's going to be a huge crowd in their favour. They're going to be up emotionally. They're going to play with the energy of a side that's got nothing to lose, and that gives them a puncher's chance.
Last week against Melbourne, that first 20 minutes, they really give it, they were real physical with Melbourne. They kick chase. They were really good with their defence. I think if they bring that mentality, similar to like the Wires did to Penrith, they'll look really good. But my big thing is, don't try to out Penrith. And we said this last week when they were going down to Melbourne. You're not going to don't try to play that same style and outgrind them. I think they need to have the same. I think they need to change their mentality this week, and they're not about trying to beat Penrith the last 10 minutes where you grind them down over 70 minutes.
That's right.
And then you run away with the game, because Penrith have done that consistently for 5 years, and it's going to be a much harder game trying to beat them at their own game. You need to really disrupt them physically early, and then they need to be playing a lot of good football and need to be really high skilled, because if you're just sitting there dropping people off and trying to wear them out fitness wise, they're going to get you in the back end of the game.
Well, and the other thing about the other thing they got to do, Coops, they got to start, like you said, start well. But if you can pinch a try early, pinch a try, get on a goal. Suddenly you might find yourself 8 points clear, mate. Against a red hot favourite, that just exerts a little bit of pressure. I go back to the peak years of Melbourne Storm, right? And when Cooper was halfback of the Cronk variety, but with Cooper was brilliant at organising the team, but he'd have a GPS in his brain how he wanted and thought the game would go. But I used to see Coop, and that changed the further he got in his career. But early to the mid part of his career, if he was chasing points, he looked uncomfortable because you took him away from the way that he wanted the game to be played. Yeah. And I see similar stuff with Nathan. I see Nathan, the way he builds the game. He starts getting those suffocation sets on and repeat set. But if suddenly, mate, if you find yourself early in the contest 6-0 or 8-0 down, then you've got to play with a bit more urgency. Yeah. So, like last week, the Dogs cannot do what the Warriors did. Warriors got a penalty early. They're in a position for an attacking set and maybe pinch a try early to put pressure on. Tanner Boyd doesn't put it out. Kicks it, doesn't make touch. Unforgivable. Right? Every opportunity you get, you've got to be down that field. You've got to be giving it some. If you're not scoring points, you've got to get repeat sets. You've got to start. You've got to burn them out. You've got to do that. And you said it before about errors, Cooper. The Dogs' defence is actually good. Structurally is good. I thought against the last week, the Storm dominated yardage throughout the game, but the way they defend in their own quarter is very, very good. What's killing them are the errors. Now, I'll go back to Toby Sexton, talk about Sexton's inclusion here, Coops. Why this is important, and I took exception of it at the time. Everyone, in removing Toby Sexton and bringing in Lachlan Galvin, they kept putting stats out, going, oh, look at this. He's not creating enough. Look at line break assists. Look at this. And that's the reason we moved him on, and Galvin's going to make us a better attacking team. Now, that might be the case. That might be the case as far as ability to score pure points. That might be the case with Galvin. But Sexton was a steadying, calming influence. And crucially, when Sexton was in that football side, they made far less errors. Yeah. And at the moment, for the want to get their attack on, they are making so many unforced errors. That's what's killing them. So if they get out there this week, complete up to around 90%, get their defence on as they've been doing, kick well, mate, they've got a puncher's chance. Yeah.
Let's the three key players. Can we talk about them for a second? Starting with the Bulldogs, I've got my three key players this week for the Dogs. I think Matty Burton, he's named at centres. Yeah. If Crichton doesn't play, he'll play left centre. Bronson Cherry, I believe, he's coming back into the side. He'll play right centre. Yep. But I just think that Dogs' left edge, it's their biggest threat. It's their biggest strength. Kick out Burton there. But I think Birdo's got to get a bit more involved. And I think he looked, when he went to centre, I thought he looked really good. He was running the footy, put him under immense pressure, Melbourne. But we said it last week. I think he's got to I think Ciro's got to tell him to bring out the torpedo.
Coops.
I cannot wrap my head around, and I understand that they want to build into this grinding game like Penrith do, but he has a weapon that no one else in the NRL has, and they're just not using it.
Well, Coop, he's one of my three key men too. I'll jump in there. He's one of mine for the same reason. Dylan Edwards is suddenly having a bit of a dip in confidence as far as that high ball is concerned. Yeah. He had it a few years ago, and suddenly I can see there's a bit of uncertainty. Well, Birdo, mate, there it is. Like, although you're playing centre, in yardage sets, put yourself in position for that last tackle kick and don't place it. Fucking whack the thing towards the stars.
Yeah. Well, he did it at Origin.
Towards the sun. It's a day
when he played Origin at centre, they did the same thing. They'd get him to come infield. Nathan had two pass it to him. He'd whack him up. And Kalen was at the back for Maroons. And they just couldn't get it on the full because it's that hard. Yeah. I don't know why they're not want it, whether it's his left knee problem and he's not able to hit it as far.
No.
But
no, I think he's got a bit of a it's like with teams that they want to place the ball in a place.
Yeah.
Right, let's place it.
There's a time and a place for that kick.
Sure.
Like maybe the first 15, 20 minutes they're building to the game, sure, don't bring it out. But after that, when there's a bit of fatigue and you want to start to force errors and start to put a bit of doubt in the back three's mind, he needs to be pulling it out, at least using it 2 or 3 times a game. They're not using it at all.
Coop, I wouldn't be placing the ball at all. If anything from 55 metres out, don't place it. Jam it. Torpedo it. Mate, we need something to win this game. We're not going to win the game playing percentages. We've got to force errors out of them. We've got to dominate possession. That's one of the ways we do it.
My next one's Bill Kickout. I think Kickout, I thought he was their biggest attacking threat against Melbourne. I think he's going to be such a big way that they're going to want to play against Penrith, particularly getting at Nathan, making Nathan make a lot of tackles, and he just attracts so many defenders and gets quick play the balls, and shit just happens around him.
It does.
He gets offloads, he gets quick play the balls. I think they're going to want to use him for that. And then my third was Connor Tracy. I think Nathan's kicking game is so important. You saw him build a lot of repeat sets last week against the Warriors. Charles Nickel-Klokstad did a really good job at saving a lot of tries off grubbers. I think that it's going to be a big job for Tracy this week in order to sort of diffuse a lot of their attacking kick threats.
Biggest challenge of Connor Tracy's career.
Yeah,
because coming through, he was a half, played a little bit of centre, like a fullback. Although he's had 18 months there, still a newish position for him, particularly at this level. So he's going to be subjected to all this array of attacking kicks from Nathan. He's going to have to handle those giant bombs, those dead ball bombs that he puts up, and he's going to be in charge of protecting the 40-20. He's got a massive job.
Yeah.
My other two is Toby Sexton for the reasons we just spoke about, and Viliami Kikau. Like Billy Kikau, last week he had Jonah Pezzett in front of him. They just didn't do it enough. Every time they opened the field up to the far touch line to open the spaces up and got him the ball one-on-one, he caused problems. They just didn't do it enough.
My Penrith 3, I'll get through these ones a little bit quicker. Moses Leota.
Yep.
I think up front, particularly with that, he was really strong for him up front against the Wires last week.
Yep.
And I think this Bulldogs pack, they're not as big as the Wires, so I think Leota is going to have a huge impact going after a lot of their big boys, particularly Maxi King. Him and Maxi King going at it.
Yep.
My two obvious reasons, Nathan Cleary, his kicking game proved the difference against the Warriors last week, and I think he's going to want to play the same game. But I think the most important player on the field for Penrith this week is Brian Toto. For the reason, obviously, we know what he does out of the backfield, his meterage and all that, but that left edge, Blaise Talangi, Casey McLean, and Toto's on the wing there.
Yep.
They are a relatively new edge. If I'm an attacking half, particularly in finals this time of the year, that's the edge. You want to set up, you want to hit Nathan's edge, and then you want to attack that edge because they've leaked a lot of points this year.
They have.
They've put Bizza there because he started on the other side. They've put Bizza there for his defensive experience to try to help those two young lads. And I think he's the most important player defensively for Penrith to help those boys defensively.
Yeah, I've got Nathan for all the reasons we spoke about. I've gone Brian Toto. Brian Toto, given the fact that the Dogs, you can't stop him, you got to minimise him. If the Dogs can have him run for less than 200 metres, they've done an outstanding job. And I tell you how I would defend Bizza, Brian Toto, is that I'd be the Taumalolo rule that Melbourne did. Is that, mate, he hit him low. Right, his post-contact meters, he just drives through the line and gets position. Mate, chop him down with a legs tackle from marker at side on.
Yeah.
That's what you do. Stop his momentum immediately.
I agree. He's so hard to tackle if you're trying to get him up top and wrestle him to the ground.
Yep.
If you have to sacrifice him, not putting him on his back in order to save meters, because so many people go high and they try to wrestle him to the ground, but he just breaks tackles and keeps leg driving through. You've got your markers. You've got to stress to your markers in that first A defender. Get up and you got to dive straight into his legs.
So true. And my other one, Cooper, is Isaiah Yeo. Isaiah Yeo, more than any other player, even Nathan Cleary, he's the decision maker whether the ball goes north, south, or east, west. And when he's really got it on, they look fantastic. Like that, they win 99% of their games. When he's a little off, and I've seen it sometimes, a little bit off, they get too pass-centric and too sideways. So he's a crucial man.
Okay, this next one I want to ask, the Bulldogs and Panthers, we'll start with Bulldogs. If Bulldogs are to win this game, how do you see them winning?
I see them. I see them getting off to a really fast start. What we're talking about, getting an early lead, applying scoreboard pressure, and then, mate, just eliminate your errors. At the end of if they win the game, we get to the end of the game. I look at the stat sheet and I go, mate, what about that? They only made 2 errors in the whole game. That's what they've got to do to give themselves a chance. They've got to kick well, put in the corners. They've got to attack Penrith with their energy. And the other thing with the football, Coop, it's imperative. They've got to get forward early. They've got to get forward. If Bronson Cherry's a big in, he's a great yardage centre, one of the best in the competition. If he and Jacob Kraz can get forward in early tackles, then that allows their smaller, faster pack to ball play a little bit, and they can cause a lot of problems there. And I'm with you, Coop. It's attacking that right head. Like last week we saw Broncos applied a lot of pressure
to the Raiders right edge.
And to the Raiders' young guys.
Yeah.
The young guys in the side. Blokes who had been outstanding all season for the Raiders, when the pressure really got on, they tightened up. They've got to do that with Blaze. They've got to go at Blaze a lot. This is his biggest challenge so far.
I think that's the Bulldogs. That's where they've got to attack. I think you'll see them, that right edge of, I believe it's Galvin, Preston. It'll be Bronson Cherry if Critter's not there.
Yep.
And then I don't know who's on that right wing, but they're the 4 that are going to have to attack that, and particularly that space between Casey McLean and Blaze Talangi. Attacking and putting pressure in between there, because if those 2 lose confidence, it's going to put so much pressure on Bizzer and the back rower on that side as well.
Yep.
Who wins?
Coops. It's. I give the Dogs a puncher's chance, but I go for Penrith.
Yeah.
Simply because Cooper. Number one is because they got a pretty decent 7, but the other one is the Panthers need to do. We'll put it this way: they don't need to have a lot of things. They don't need luck or a lot of things to go their way to win football, big football games.
Yeah.
They've got the template. They know how to do it. If they can they've got those suffocation sets that they just apply and they dismantle oppositions doing it that way. But if the Panthers go into big games, if the Panthers just defend well, really strong in yardage, and regularly get Nathan into attack positions, I don't know who beats them.
Yeah, I agree. I've got Penrith as well. I think watching what Nathan did with his kicking game last week, and at this time of the year, you just know they're not going to beat themselves. Throughout the year, they beat themselves a hell of a lot of times.
Yep.
I think they've got this finals experience and they've got all their troops back. They've got the best halfback, probably best player in the world. I think they are not going to beat themselves, and I don't know if I think for Bulldogs to beat them, they'd want Penrith to be a little bit off.
And Coops, the big home crowd for the Bulldogs, 70,000 plus, which will be 90% of them Bulldogs fans. They'll relish that. They'll revel.
You'll be out there as well?
They'll love the atmosphere. No, Coops. Oh, we're still working out. We're talking about doing an outside broadcast outside the ground.
Yeah, because we were going to do it last week in Canberra. A lot of our listeners got in touch because we shouted out to doing an outside broadcast, and they were looking for you.
Yeah, well, what happens, Coops? It was logistics. What had happened, we wanted to actually be able to get in to the ground, do some interviews and stuff like that, but there were logistics reasons why we couldn't do it as far as TV rights and whatnot, so it got shelved, unfortunately.
Raceman, who wins?
Just quickly, my camera's gone, so sorry to all the viewers out there.
Oh, that's all right.
I'll just leave you on Coop for the time being.
Oh.
I've gone a different flavour.
Flavour saver.
Flavour saver, that's it. I think a couple crucial mistakes last week by the Wars, I think cost them. McLean and Toto scored off the back of that.
Yep.
I like the way the Doggies play. I think in front of that crowd, they'll be up for the moment.
Yep.
So I'm going for the underdoggies.
Razman.
Doggies by 2. Underdoggies, we can use that one as a bloody title.
Doggy style. You've always been a doggy man.
Yeah, mate, absolutely. As opposed to a reverse cowgirl. Yeah. That's mate, takes me. I was just watching World War Z before. What a wonderful movie, Brad Pitt. And there's a scene in the movie where he goes to this guy because Israel built the wall to stop the zombies going in.
Yeah.
And he said, how did you know? And he said, well, word come through from India that there's a zombie thing happening. And he went, yeah, well, why did you believe that? He said, because we do now, we have 10 guys in the room and 9 of them's job was to say that's ridiculous. And there's one that's got to have a counter view and try to talk him into it. He said, I was the counter view. And you, Razman, are the counter view.
Yeah.
Right.
So if they win,
Standing up for the Doggies fans when no one else will.
One of the great analogies.
mate, comparing you to Brad Pitt and comparing the game on Sunday to World War Z.
My favourite scene in that is when when Brad Pitt looks across and he sees all the zombies running past that sick kid, and he realises that if you infect yourself with some sort of the only cure for the zombiness, so they don't infect you. Zombiness adjective. We'll Google that. Flushy. If the only cure is to be sick, because the zombies, they don't want to touch sick blood.
Yeah, they don't.
Very interesting.
Selective. Beggars can't be choosers, or can they?
That's what I thought. Yeah. At what point, zombies, who would have thought zombies would be such picky assholes?
Friday night game.
Yes, Friday night.
Friday night. It's actually great night for football.
It's actually Saturday. This game. Sorry. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Canberra.
It's the week after Friday.
Yeah. Canberra versus the Sharks. Let's talk about. Look, Canberra's completely unchanged. I thought maybe they may have had a couple of injuries given the extent of that 90-minute battle they had with the Broncos. Sharks are unchanged, except Tom Hazelton has been named on the extended bench. Not sure whether he comes back in or not. Hazelnut may come onto the bench for him. Might do. Be a little good inclusion because Hazelnut can find the white line.
Mate, he and steady on there, mate. Hazelnut. He's like Mark Nichols. He just, mate, always gets across.
There are some good try-scoring front rowers in the modern game at the moment, and a lot of them unathletic.
Mate, I know. But Adam Fanil-Blake, he's another one. Fanil-Blake,
he's very athletic.
He's very athletic.
Yeah. What do you put yourself? Let's start with the Sharks for a second. If you're the Sharks, Craig Fitzgibbon and the team, how do you think they're feeling coming up against the minor premiers Raiders this week? Because I believe off the back of that Broncos game, that crucial 95-minute game, into a 6-day turnaround where they play Sunday into a Saturday game, I am confident. I'm taking a lot of confidence into this game. Sharks playing a good style, and I think if there's a time to go after the minor premiers, it's probably now.
Well, a lot of times what you do, Coop, when you'd play, we certainly do it with the Knights back in our day when we played. If you played a semi-final on one day, the next day you'd all gather together as a team to watch who you're going to play next week.
Yeah.
Mate, they would have been sitting there in double extra time or into Golden Point just going, yoo-hoo. Yeah. How maybe not like that, but mate, but going, how good is this? Just keep burning each other out. So they would be, they'd be going to it with a lot of confidence.
Because physically, it's obviously this time of the year, that physical game, because that was outside of the 95 minutes, it was a battle. Like, it was a high intense 80 minutes, full stop.
Day football, see.
But I think the emotional damage, like those Raiders boys, you know, they had some controversial calls against them in a heartbreaking up and down roller coaster game. They've got a lot to leave behind them and move on to the next week in only 6 days.
Yeah.
They would have been stewing for a couple of days after that game, going, bloody hell, like pissed off about some of the ref calls, pissed off about some of the other scenarios in the game. It takes a lot to drop all of that, leave that at the door and go, guys, we got a job in 6 days to keep our season alive to make it to a prelim final.
Yeah, it does. It's been both of their sides are coming from such a different mindset. Like the Sharks are surging.
Yeah. So
the Sharks are playing their best football they have for years. Best under Craig Fitzgibbon. They're playing great football. Mate, they're on a roll. They've won 8 from their last 9. They've just had a big win over the Roosters. Mate, they've just sat and watched the Raiders put themselves through hell. Sure. Then, you know, and fall at the last hurdle there against the Broncos. They'll go down there super confident. The Raiders, on the other hand, they've got to put themselves back together a little bit, but they've got the right coach to do it.
How do you think the Raiders will see this game then? Because they played the Sharks once this year. It was a tight game. It was in round 5. 24-20, they beat them, the Raiders. They scored a try in the 78th minute to actually pinch it to win. How do you think they are viewing the Sharks? Because they are flying at the moment, the Sharkies.
Look, I don't think Ricky will put much emphasis on the Sharks. I think he'll spend all his energies on his own side.
Yeah.
Like if you watched them last week, and we spoke about this in the review, if the Raiders had just kept playing football, didn't tighten up, like what they were doing, they're just looking in the rear vision mirror going, mate, the Broncos are coming.
Yeah.
When it went when it was 26-14, I think, or 28-12, or 28, when they were within 12 points, I don't know who was commentating. Was it Dan Ganane in the commentary?
Yeah.
But he went, oh, mate, this game is not over yet. Well, There was only about 9 minutes to go. Like, really, they should have been able to. They should have hung on. I'm sorry, I've used the wrong term here. Hang on is not the right word. They should have kept playing.
Yeah.
That's been one of the great things about the Raiders this year. Come hell or high water, regardless of the circumstance, they've played their football. I think Ricky will go away, watch that game and say, hey, boys, look at that. If we just kept playing football, we win, maybe even comfortably.
Yeah, and I agree. It was 28-12 with 15 minutes to go, I think, in that game. Any side would go, we've blown a 16-point lead in 15 minutes, despite of, the Hudson Young, Reece Walsh situation before that, despite any of the penalties that led up to that moment that people are sort of blowing up about. That doesn't matter. They're still up by 16 points with 15 to go.
Yep.
The stuff that happened before that had no impact on how they should have handled that 15-minute scenario. And you practice that all the time in training. 15-minute scenario, how do we ice teams out? How do we put the pressure on them? Turn them over in the corner, keep playing. Yeah. But they didn't handle that scenario.
And Broncos were 11 at one point.
Yeah.
Right? And that's where the Raiders, you just go, mate, let's just go for these blokes. Let's go. If you look at Kyle Weeks' try just for half-time, he comes off his right foot and just waltzes through because the Raiders forwards were out on their feet. The Broncos forwards were out on their feet. So boys, Ricky will show them in the video and say, have a look at them. They were gone. Mate, we beat ourselves.
Yeah.
Come on, let's get out this week. We've been the best. We've been the best side all season. You don't turn into a bad side overnight just by one loss, right? Let's get out there and go. For it. They'll be really confident.
Yeah, I'm keen to see how they approach this game. 3 key players. Let's start with the Sharks boys.
Yep.
Who's your top 3 for this
Braden
game?
Trindle.
Yep.
Is one for obvious reasons. Like last week, he played, I think, probably best game he's ever played in as an NRL player.
Yeah,
he was superb. His past selection was tip top, really good. He's really important. He and Nico and Blake Brayley have found combination, which is good.
I'll jump in with you here because he's mine as well. Tricky Trindle. Obviously, he played great last week, but I think he's my most important player because the edge that he's attacking this week is that Raiders right edge.
Yeah,
who Reece Walsh put a clinic on against last week. All the pressure, all the clips that Fitzy be showing that edge this week that's the side they want to attack to. That's the side who's going to be low on confidence. They're the young edge. The other side's been defending quite well for the Raiders. That is the key weakness at the moment. And Tricky's been awesome with the footy, and him and Mulatalo have been deadly together. I think that those two are really important.
Well, probably for me, the most vital man for the Raiders, what you were just talking about there, is Jamal Fogarty, right? So if I'm Fitzy, I'm saying just Tricky, boys, just keep going at him. Yep. Keep going, mate. Because last week when the Broncos just kept going at him and creating things in and around him, I think that really affected his composure and attack. And he's the most important bloke with attack. They've got to ruffle his feathers to affect the Raiders' composure. So, yeah, Trindle. Secondly, Ronaldo Mulatalo. Mate, love that bloke. Just love his attitude, the way he plays. He brings the vibe. He brings the menace. Swagger, mate. He'll be out there. He'll be sledging and going. So, Ronaldo is mine, my second one. And third one is Adam Fanua-Blake again. Almost the same as last week, but Fanua-Blake is just a phenomenon.
Big job for him this week too. That Raiders pack is huge. Is huge, and they are firing at the moment. Tarpany and Papali'i up front, Horsburgh at lock. Adam is the bloke who can really enforce those. Like he's so dominant. He's got so much leg speed. He's the one who can really give it to him. My other two for Sharks were Blake Brayley. Yeah, I think he's
scoop and go.
Along with him and Tricky, I think he's so deadly in the middle, similar to Tommy Starling, how they play, very nippy, very crafty around the ruck. He can cause a lot of disruption. And then my third, same as you, Adam Fanua-Blake.
Yeah. Raiders, I've gone most important, Jamal Fogarty. Last week they lost their composure. A lot of the young guys tightened up a little bit. That's his domain. Right, he's got to have that composure in extra time at Golden Point when they were searching for that big play, where they were searching for the field goal, they just lost their composure again. That's Jamal's. That's his domain. He's got to get that right.
Yeah.
The other one, Josh Papali'i. Big Papa. The reason why Billy took him into Origin camp for that last game was he needed something special. Took him in for his presence and his leadership. So he's a big one for him. And the third one's Ethan Strange. We talk about Ronaldo brings the vibe. I reckon Ethan Strange brings the energy and the vibe.
Yeah.
And I thought with Ethan last week, I thought he was excellent in the first 66 minutes. I reckon he was a little bit symbolic of how they stopped playing. He sort of went into his shell a little bit. Well, mate, if I'd be saying to Ethan, hey, brother, mate, you've been outstanding this year, mate, and I need you, even in the tight moments, I'll accept an error. I need you to keep playing football and be Ethan Strange.
My 3 for Raiders, Hudson Young, I thought he was their best player last week on the field. I think he's the real leader for that left edge as well, and I think he brings out the best in Ethan Strange. Because he's so skillful, Huddy used to play a bit in the halves growing up as well, so he kind of got a halves mentality at different times. You can see that when he brings out his little short kicking game.
Another better half that came out of the Hunter Valley than Nic White. There you go, another one.
Yeah. Shout out to you, Nic White.
Nick who?
Number 2 for me is Kyle Weeks. I think he's provides so much X factor for him, but I think he's going to be the most important player on the field because he'd be kicking himself a little bit last week with Walshy kicking 2 40-20s on him.
Yep.
A lot of the time that's the fullback's role to get those back 3 working together to shut down those threats, and I have no doubt Trindle and Nico, they like going for that early kick, that early 40-20. So I think they'll be reviewing and seeing some opportunities around that this week. And then my number 3, Josh Papali'i as well. I think, we spoke about Fanua Blake on the other side. Papali'i and Tarpany, they'll be looking at Fanua Blake and Rudolph, who were instrumental last week. And they're going to want to really give it to those blokes this week if they're to win.
What's the verdict, Coop? Who wins it?
I'm going the Sharkies.
Wow, okay.
I've got the Sharks. And
upset of sorts.
I said it in the preview for last week's game with Broncos Raiders. I said whoever wins this game is going to go to the grand final. Whoever loses it are going to be so physically damaged after what I thought was going to be a really physical game that I thought they were going to beat. I'm just sticking with my guns with that. I think Sharkies are looking really fresh at the moment. They're going on they've got a 7-day turnaround. Raiders got a 6-day turnaround on the back of a hard game. I think the Sharkies are full of confidence, and I think they're going to get it done.
I'm going to go the Raiders. Raiders, given the fact that, like I said before, they've been the best best team all year. I reckon. Excuse me. I'm backing them.
Excused.
Thank you. Thanks, and thank you, Rosamond. And I'm backing them to learn the lessons from last week. Yep. I'm backing the fact that they can sit down in the video session, right? I'd be really disappointed. But one of the things that can pull them together and get themselves back together again is looking at the video and saying, hey, we beat ourselves.
Correct.
If we kept doing what we've done through the year and kept playing football under pressure, we win the football game. And the other thing is, mate, Canberra playing the Raiders at home at night, I think is as tough as beating the Melbourne Storm at home at night back in their peak years. Razman.
What are you thinking?
Wait, just quickly before I give you my verdict, I noticed on the comments last week someone called you up for saying Papali, and it said it's actually Papali'i.
Papali'i.
So just want to give you credit for always adapting and evolving, learning every day. You're not a perfect person, not yet at least.
As opposed to the old man.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rose, man.
I'm going the milk because everyone loves some milk, and they're everyone's second favourite team, so they're going to bounce back.
Do you know the old Canberra milk? There used to be a Canberra milk brought a thing out called Canberra Lime. It was lime flavoured milk, which was delicious. So you'd walk in the sheds before the game, and like before the games, like you wouldn't have breakfast because you're nervous. But when you get in the sheds, it's an hour before kickoff. Suddenly you're starving hungry, and they just have a crate of this delicious lime flavoured milk there.
Was the lime milk good?
It was delicious.
Really?
It was fantastic. I couldn't help myself.
Because I wouldn't have thought that milk and lime would go together.
Yeah, mate, have one. I'll make one for you. Lime spider.
Is Midori lime flavour?
Yes, Midori milk is awesome. How good is it? What a drink.
A couple of alcoholics in the room.
Yeah, that's right. It is right.
Yeah, a few. Don't say a couple. There's 3 of us.
Yeah.
3's a crowd. Can we do our backfence player of the round? Last week? Do you remember who you predicted last week? Because I said Reece Walsh, and I think Walshy got the player of the round. I can't remember who you and Rasmin said.
I said the mule, which depending on who you're going for.
Yeah.
I think that yours wasn't very.
It wasn't. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
I can't remember who yours was. But who do you think for this round? This can be across all the games.
All the games. You go first. Who you got? You got one in mind?
I've got. I think I mean, I think that the back fence player of the round, I got to give it to Nathan Cleary. I think he's going to build from last week with his kicking game, and I think he's going to really dominate that arena this week.
Okay, what about this one?
Hang
Though I'm back in the Panthers, and I think the Panthers win, Satili Tupanoa.
You love him.
I love him as a player. He's arguably in the top 3 buys of the season. His impact when he comes on the bench is enormous. It actually wouldn't surprise me if he starts.
Wow, we'll get him on the pod because he was in that. He released that rap song as well with last year with Joey Manu.
Really?
Do you remember that, Raz? Do you remember what's that? Joey Manu, Joseph Suoliti, Satili Tupanoa, and Siwa Wong.
I wonder.
They had a rap group.
I wonder if we got together and we could do maybe a cover of Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, The Message.
What was their band? What was their rap group called?
It escapes me.
Yeah,
I've heard the song. Wasn't bad.
It's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
We've played it a couple of times at Pre's, Razman, and we always go out with a really good vibe.
Yeah.
Razman, your back fence player of the round?
I think if Canberra had won that game, we'd probably be talking a lot more about Tom Starling. So I think Tommy Starling they're gonna get the win and he'll be the hero again.
Actually, that was my player last week. It was Tommy Starling.
That's right.
And got off to a flyer too.
Yeah, he did go off to a flyer. Okay, here it is. It's called our debut album. It's called Off Season, but they're Dream Yours. I think that's what it was called.
Do you want to play a little bit? Can we put a little bit into this?
We rock the party.
That's what it is. We rock the party.
I love that.
I mean, I don't know for copyright reasons if we can even play it.
No, I think you can play.
You can
I believe you can play 15 seconds.
All right, let me play a little bit then.
So listen
15 seconds.
Desert
I know.
Island Discs. They always play about 15 seconds.
Okay, their band's called Dream Yours.
I love it.
Hang on, let's have somebody come and have
the reason I found that is because I had it on my YouTube recent searches. Must have been from the weekend.
Why?
I think we looked it up the other weekend.
We're drunk.
Creepy of you.
Yeah.
A couple of idiots you are.
Yeah, we are.
That's Satili.
More than just a good footballer and a pretty face. Can sing.
I know. Look, well, that's more rapping, I would say, than singing.
Isn't rapping and singing the same thing?
Razman, last call. Is rapping and singing the same thing?
Mate, I think no, definitely not.
Okay.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Yeah. Enjoy sleeping in the cold tonight, Razman.